I've always said that you really do not know what a boat can do or the quality of the boat if you don't get to experience it yourself. Thankfully today our friends at Plantation Boat Mart down in the Keys lent us this 41 Blackwater with quad 450Rs back there, which is not an everyday occurrence, to basically rip it around the bay and see what it can do. So really what I'm going to do is just run it around, bring you guys on board with us, let you know what I feel as I feel it, and just run it through the paces. See what this whole shot looks like. All right, so we're up on plane. Those 450Rs are so powerful. I mean, we're already doing 50 miles an hour. And this boat is a solid heavy boat. This is not a light boat. We're doing 67 miles an hour, trimming up a little bit. 71, 72. Oh my God. This thing is crazy. Wow. It's so nice to be inside of this enclosed panel here because obviously if Jason were to step outside, we'd probably lose him off the transom. I'm gonna go ahead and make a turn here. Jason, hold on. So this is a 48 mile an hour turn, port side. This is a dual stepped hull. Very smooth, no slippage at all. Came down to about 37, 38 at the bottom end of that. We're gonna go ahead and kick it up again. Pick up that trim once again. All right, we started porpoising there, so I went too far. Actually, not porpoising, we're hitting our weight from the first run. And we're back 70 miles an hour. Super solid. I mean, this thing feels incredible. What a machine. All right, we got a bit of a shallow area to my port. Gonna make a starboard turn. Now, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pull back on that speed and tighten up this turn. See what it does? As you can see, it basically had that rub rail touching the water. And you can see how tight this circle is. And I keep getting tighter and tighter. We're going over our own weight, but I mean, this thing can maneuver for the big girl that it is. She is big, but she is nimble. What I'm doing here is obviously pushing this boat far further than you ever really would. I don't need to make a turn that sharp at any point. It doesn't matter if you're running and fishing and you see a school of dolphin or a big floating piece of debris. You don't need to make that turn at that speed ever. So we're back on track. All good, but you can see how smooth this thing turns. And again, I'm not sure what the weight is. I'm actually gonna go ahead and do some research on that. But being able to we were hitting 73 miles an hour and there was still more room left. Tons of power here, incredibly stable. It's obviously the bay, so we're not seeing what a chop is, but running through our own chop, very solid. You don't hear a rattle anywhere. Really nice from what I'm seeing so far here with the Blackwater 41. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and get a clear runway and I'm gonna jump on plane. Jason, you good back there? Let's go ahead and see what this thing can do. So jumped on plane right there real quick. Trim up a hair. We're doing 65 miles an hour. Incredibly powerful. These 450Rs are out of control. This is a huge platform. It's got to be every bit of 20,000 pounds. Jason, I'm going to make a port side turn. Now we're doing 53 miles an hour right now. And I'm not going to get crazy tight, but this is a twin stepped hull. Sometimes the twin stepped hulls can slide on a high-speed turn, but we're still at about 40. I'm going to keep spinning it. Still doing 38 right now. And I'm not going to push it too far because we'll end up getting a high high temperature sensor alarm on the outboards, I'm sure. But again, this isn't a turn that you're really going to do much in real life, but just want to see what it can do. I'm going to go ahead and pick it back up. Jason's still back there, that's good. Jumping over our own wake a little. And for being such a big, solid center console, I mean, this thing just gets up and goes. Doing easy 54 miles per hour. I'm going to see if I can get some information here of the Garmin's. I'm not as used to this. Trying to see if I can get a mile per gallon. All right, I'm going to turn and I'm going to make a starboard turn this time. It's so nice to have this like sunroof throwing that natural light into the boat. It never feels dark. It's tinted, so it's not hot in here at all. Again, for being such a big boat, this thing can turn. Super sensitive to the touch. The steering is very soft. Not sure what kind of power steering they have here, but I like it a lot. It's got a Gemlux Belica 13.5-inch steering wheel. And being out here in the Florida Keys in this beautiful weather does not get any better than this. And I knew I liked this boat. I actually have quite a relationship with Blackwater since the beginning. Not a lot of people know, but Blackwater was one of the first brands we worked with when we started center consoles only. So they gave us an opportunity to show what we're capable of doing. Way back then, this was almost 5 years ago. They've come a long way. You know, we've done quite a few things since then, but it's always a boat that I've always personally had on the top of my list if I was ever able to drop this kind of money on a center console. But even beyond that, Eugene, the owner, Mark, which we did a lot of work with on Off Lease Only, you know, are near and dear to our hearts because of that. Monique, which works with Icon now, EV, electric vehicles on the golf carts, and Epic, where we got our golf cart, has become a really close friend of ours, and we appreciate all the relationships that we build. And obviously getting the opportunity to run boats like this. We're talking about running a 41 just like this to the Bahamas, doing a 2-day Bimini trip for some tuna and then some reef fishing for yellowtail and maybe even some spear fishing. So again, like I said at the beginning, you really don't get to feel what these boats are like until you get a few minutes, you know, behind the helm here. So the power from the 450Rs is undeniable. It's incredibly impressive. It pushes this boat like if it didn't weigh anything, but you can feel the strength and weight on this boat. We barely are moving with the current, with the breeze. And as we move around the boat, normally you can feel some movement. This thing is dead solid. There's no movement at all when the weight starts moving around. Incredibly impressive. And honestly, we're blessed to be in the situation to be able to run this boat and really feel what it's all about. All right, so we got a bit of our own shop that we created here, but we're gonna go ahead and back down this boat. Usually when I back down, I like to trim up a little bit because obviously those engines are either gonna pull the transom down or they're gonna pull it up. So I'll trim it a little bit. Then depending what you wanna do, you can turn that wheel a little bit. I mean, we're moving nice. Really no water getting up over that transom or onto the engine, very little. And we're moving at a few knots here easily. The wind's starting to play with us a little bit. It's picking up, but really nice to be able to back down on a sailfish. Really nice tournament boat with the 4 live wells. Plenty of room. You got an 11+ beam on this thing. We'll get that information and include it in this video. Right now we're doing 72 miles an hour. 73. Hopefully that GoPro holds off the bow. 75. All right, we're getting to a shallow area up ahead, so let me pull back. And I don't want to burn through all of Plantation Boat Mart's fuel. Dennis probably wouldn't be too happy with me if I did that. So it's a lot of fun. I mean, it doesn't feel like you're doing almost 80 miles an hour. We're doing this turn, look at this, 56 miles an hour. Starboard side turn right along this edge right here. And it's a pretty tight turn we're doing. And I mean, it is smooth. What a machine this is. Engines trimmed down again. And make a nice, tight starboard turn. And look at this. Check out how tight this turn is, and I could do more. The rub rail is basically touching the water. Then I can spin out of this, no problem. Woo. That was nice. So it's fun when you get the feel for these boats. Also, I kind of turn right into our own wake, but you start building your confidence. We're used to driving, you know, the 29 Orion or the Costa 264. So this is a little different animal. Right at first, I was a little timid. I used to run a 39 CV quite a bit, and I enjoyed that, and that was like, you know, natural to me, but it's been a while since that. So it's fun to get back into, I guess, behind the helm of something like this again, which hasn't happened in some time. Again, the turns I'm making here are not really turns that you're going to be doing often. Maybe a hat flies off the boat and, you know, something like that, but realistically, you're not running the boat like I'm running the boat right now in natural conditions. It's really nice when you get into a boat like this and imagine running to the Bahamas or doing long range fishing trips, just to be able to run this thing on cruise control. I mean, it's gonna be, you gotta get into a 3 to 5 foot sea or something greater to really even feel any sort of impact with the amount of weight that you're pushing around with this Blackwater 41. This much beam, this much freeboard. I mean, it's a big, heavy, strong bow, but you know, you got enough of a distance to be able to get a gaff in the fish off the bow if you need to. But it's got to be an absolute pleasure. We really look forward to doing it and doing that Bahamas trip and really getting to feel what this thing is about, and not only feeling what it's about in a sea trial setting, but almost what it's like, what it's got to feel like to own one of these things. And that's got to be a lot of fun. So we're going to bring that trip to you very soon, and that video is going to come to our YouTube channel soon as well. As you can see, I'm sitting on the full rear transom bench seat that conveniently hides away if the plan is to do some fishing. What's real nice is if you lean right here, you're fighting a fish, you actually have a toe kick, which you'd be surprised how important that little feature is. But it's incredibly comfortable just to be able to pack your toes in. If not, you'd have a weird angle to you. Small little detail, but incredibly important if you're fishing. They put it all the way around the live well. Also, nice blue gel coat. 2 large live wells. You got them port and starboard, and you actually have another one underneath that rear-facing bench seat that I noticed a minute ago. Let me just pop this out for all you anglers out there. This can be a cooler. It can be a live well also. So it just depends what you want to do. And then another cool feature here is popping this out. Got your Plano boxes, some drawers there just to organize everything. You don't even know this thing exists. Once you close it, it's magnetized right there, so it just pops. That's it. You got your Gemlux rod holder, cup holder combination, so it's really nice here to be able to put a cup if you're at a sandbar. And this is a fishing boat. This is their kind of tournament edition, single row seat, but you can easily go out with the family here, go to the Bahamas. There's seating everywhere. There's a side door to get in and out of the water. So it's one of those in-between boats that can do it all, and do it all in a very good way. This one has quad 450Rs, which are insane on this thing. I can't tell you how much power you feel with this large platform. This boat's got to be 20,000 pounds, and it's pushing it at about 83 miles an hour, I think, is the top speed they've calculated. We got 73, 74 before we just pulled off. We're in the Keys, and there's a lot of shallow areas here that I'm not terribly familiar with. So I'd rather not mess with it if I can. Pop open this side door. Again, that's magnetized, so it holds in place, and you got your ladder inside the bilge to easily get in and out of the boat. So one thing you can see is it's pretty close to the water line. It's convenient to get in and out. It's not one of those that's, you know, 2 feet up out of the water, which is tough to climb out when you know, full of spearfishing gear or dive gear. Pop open the bilge. You got a really nice spacious area here. It does have a bucket. It's completely finished. You can use this as a bit of storage, but obviously the main purpose is to get you to your bilge, to your valves. Very easy to work everything from this space. Finished hatches here also. very nicely done. It's not overly heavy. Some of these hatches you can feel add a lot of weight to the boat. They do not do that here. They're very solid, but lightweight. This is an additional in-deck live well. So right now we got 4 live wells on this boat, and this one seems to be something around 40 to 50 gallons if I had to guess. So really nice to have that on deck here if you're gonna be doing some serious fishing or you wanna run a lot of bait long range. Close that side door. I'm just gonna go ahead and open up one of these fish boxes so you can gauge the size. So you got a good size, not a tremendous amount of depth, but I mean, this thing's got to go 7-8 feet in that direction. So plenty to store fish. You got a chill plate here, which I'm sure is an option, and nice that they get that Blackwater logo under here as well. It's just the fine little details that we can appreciate to go above and beyond, you know, some of the competition. If you work our way up the port side right here, I noticed this button. I wasn't sure what it was for. I pressed it accidentally, and I actually gave myself a little shower. Check that thing out. How cool is that? So the wind is blowing in the wrong direction, which is, you know, something I noticed with that. You do have to kind of plan that out so it doesn't throw it right in that direction. If we turn the boat, it'll be perfect. So if you get out from doing some spearfishing at the sandbar, it's nice to get some fresh water and rinse off, and I just soaked myself again. Here is something very nice. When they recess one of these huge 12-inch subwoofers from JL Audio, it just gives it such a nice feel. These subwoofers are not very deep, so it's not terrible if they don't do this, but it's nice to get this flush, so if you do walk by, you don't clip, you know, your calf with it or something like that, which can happen. So really beautiful detail, and this boat is absolutely covered with JL Audio sound. So walking into the helm area, it's one of my favorite spots on the boat. They do have a little step up here, which is nice. They got a good size console. When you get a boat of this size, it's great to have a little additional vantage point angle. Nice little detail, completely enclosed, really nice sexy lines they do with this enclosure, and their piping, do really thick D-piping as well. Actually, this one's not D-piping, it's regular piping, but that's like 3-inch. Very thick and sturdy. You got your switch panel up top. You got your ACR searchlight, some additional JL Audio sound, and then you actually got your battery switches right here. So you don't have to touch the ignition at any point. You just click the batteries on or off when you're ready to jump off and take on the boat. We got Garmin MFDs right here, 3 of them. We got 2 what seem to be 19s, and then a smaller 12 in the middle, all flush mounted in acrylic. You got your vessel view down the center, your gauges, you got your windlass control, bow thruster, trim tabs, Mercury throttles right here obviously, and then a little drawer off to the left with your VHF, which is what has been beeping and driving me nuts. I found it. Done deal. On top of that, check out the seating for 3 right here. You can actually obviously lean on it, but if you're going to do a longer distance run with your autopilot, right here is the place to be. You got perfect visibility of all your controls. You got a nice little sunlight through here, actually through this little panoramic sunroof that they put in here. So it really makes this a comfortable and like open, naturally lit area when you're going to be out in the water, which I appreciate. When I'm out on the water, I like to feel like I'm out on the water. I don't like to be enclosed in dark spaces. So they do a good job with that. Again, you can pop this up, lean on it, which is what I've been doing here today. And then if you want to put an armrest down, you got the ability to do that. Going back to this white powder coated piping, you got 2 rod holders down here, and you got rocket launcher all above. And you can't see it right now, and I could probably figure out how to turn it on, but this has like an LED strip under here. So when the sun's coming down, you light this thing up, combined with the undergunnel lighting, and this thing is a beautiful light show. We've done it before at one of the poker runs we ran with this company in particular, and it's something that I wish you could see at night. Maybe we get another opportunity. Just so I don't miss it, we got additional storage down here where Jason and I put our flip-flops. You got the screen covers, and then this is basically some additional dry storage underneath the leaning post, and you have access to the 12-inch subwoofers. But all storage is good storage. Let's make our way over this way to check out the console cabin. So one thing they did here, which is different from many, is they have a 2-part door. And the reason they did this is because if they had the single door with this angle that they have in the console, they would not be able to make it underneath this combing bolster. So it is a 2-part door. Open it just like that, get it out of the way, and it's magnetized. And we drop our way into the console cabin space. So for a 41 footer, It is simple, but again, the point of this thing is to fish. Realistically, a lot of people do not sleep in these size boat console cabins. If you're gonna run to the Bahamas or something, you're gonna run there and probably rent a room or a little house or something like that with your family. But for the necessities, you do have it here. You have a little kind of a bench seat, your head tucked underneath there. I'll pop up and open some drawers. You got your battery switches, got access to you know, some pumps and things like that, additional rigging, little sink in the corner. Oh, that's actually your 4 battery switches for the engines, and you got all your batteries easily accessible down there. Keep cracking these open, and there are 2 access panels to get up into your rigging, and then you got your breaker panel up here as well, ignition switches, which you really don't even ever have to touch, and then easier access to the MFDs themselves. You got lighting in here, you got a mirror. Again, I don't think this one in particular has AC, but we've been down this road a million times. Most people try to look for a boat like this that does offer the cabin space, or they complain if a boat of this size does not have that magnet's no joke, does not have a bed. But 99% of the time, this ends up being just a storage space. Personally, I would rather have more deck space, more room to, you know, entertain, to fish, whatever it is you're gonna do when you're out on the water, and not take up space with an extra cabin, but everybody's different. Here you have some additional storage. Looks like it's insulated, probably not macerated, but nice to have here midship as we work our way towards the bow. As we work our way up to the bow, you can see you have a good size lounger for 2. You got some cup holders, and in a boat like this, as solid as it is, this should be a great spot to run pretty much at any point. You got your armrest, and by not taking up that space in the console cabin, you do open up room for a huge cooler up here. Has chill plates in it, all insulated. So if you're running long distances or whatever it is that you want to do, it's nice to have this cooler space up at the bow, because this is basically another entertainment space for your friends or family. You have plenty of room all the way around the boat. As you can see, they kind of ran the radius all the way up so it does not get tighter. This opens up here to give you that same space alongside the console all the way through, which we like a lot. A little detail, you know, another company could have done that thing squared and your space minimizes as you go towards the bow, but Blackwater does not. Again, completely finished and gas shocked hatches up here. Again, easy to open, they stay in place. Siri, give me a break. And then you have storage space right here. But one thing that Blackwater does, I'm gonna try to open one of these things, is they create this elevated deck. So you have access underneath that. You can put your dry stuff up above. You have quite a bit of room up on these shelves on both sides, and that's access to your bow thruster, which this boat has. I'm sure it's an option. So it's already a large box, but the way that they set it up, they really maximize the space, giving you 2 levels. Really smart idea. And to be able to keep your stuff dry up here, incredibly important if you're bringing luggage, bags, things like that, that you just do not want to get wet. It was wet now because the boat was washed before we got here, but normally that will stay nice and dry. Finishing up here at the bow, you can see countless JL audio speakers. I'm sure this is the MVI system, so you can balance the boat out by area. This being the bow area, you can maximize the sound here. You can do it in the helm area and down back at the cockpit area. So it must sound amazing. We're not going to mess with it today. Here we have access to your anchor line, obviously your anchor locker right here, gas shocked also, and you got a through hole windlass, which is nice. You can't see anything up on the bow, so it looks clean. Pops out of the tip there, and then you just unclip this and use your control to get the bow thruster to not the bow thruster, the windlass, I'm sorry, to work from right here if you want to do it from here. And there's also a control back at the console. Check out the hardtop. You got 2 Razor light bars, and you can see what we've done today. We made quite the angel hair pasta platter off of this Garmin tracking, and it's been a lot of fun doing it. All right, we're going to pull back and ease off the throttle. Big girl wants to eat. All right, so let's see what this whole shot does here once again. Woo. Up on plane. We're doing 40 something, 50 miles an hour already. I'm making a turn so I can angle myself away from the shallow bank over there. There we go. Give it a little bit of trim. We're at 70 miles an hour and I'm not even pinned down. My God. Woo. Definitely exhilarating. Go ahead and bank left. And we're doing it at 40 something miles an hour, 35, getting a little tighter. There it is, full 180, no problem at all. Let us know what you guys think of this video. Like, subscribe, pass it along to your friend. Help us do more of these things. The more you guys support it, the more of these we can do. And we'll sacrifice and we'll do as many as necessary for the greater good of the boating industry.